Wrapping up our first day here in Indianapolis at the Scouting Combine, and our final guest of the day, last but definitely not least, entering his second year as head coach of the Carolina Panthers, he is Dave Canales. Dave, welcome back.
Thanks for having me again.
That year goes by just like that. I know we were talking beforehand. It feels a lot longer, but it just seems like yesterday we were sitting here having the conversation as you were embarking on this journey.
Absolutely. Same excitement, I think just being around here, all right, hey, Super Bowl's over. This thing starts over, 2025, here we go. And then just being around the players, feeling the dream, the excitement, all of these guys, they realize what a great opportunity this is for their careers. So I think that part of it is just infectious.
What was it like for you in year one, right? Like we always hear, you're getting used to being a head coach. There's the unforeseen that you're just not ready for. Was there one thing that you were just like, wow, I didn't realize I was going to have to deal with this so much as a head coach?
Absolutely. I just think that you touch everybody in the organization. Like there's something going on way more than you realize as a coordinator even, or as a position coach. There are all these things happening in their personal lives. There's these great celebrations, but then there's loss in the family, and there's like interpersonal, challenges that happen with your players or with staff and all those things. And it comes across your desk, and I'm just the way I am. I want to be connected to those things. That's the way I've coached, but now all of a sudden it's on this grander scale. And so that's where it snuck up on me, where Saturday after the walkthrough, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, just gassed,
crushed,
all right, I got to get my mind back. We got these meetings tonight, and I got that game tomorrow. Like, let's get it going. But that definitely was a shock.
Yeah.
You've kind of provided a new template that goes against the grain of what conventional wisdom was. You can't bench a young quarterback. He's ruined if you bench him. You're done with him if you bench him. He's never going to come back. And I know it was ultimately an injury to Andy Dalton that opened the door for Bryce to come back. But now we see, hey, it can be good for a guy to take a break, reset, get some distance, and then get another opportunity. Did you go into that move with the intention that he was going to be back last season?
I did not know how he was going to respond to that. What I knew was I needed to make the best decision for the Panthers at the time. And that's truly I want to win this game. And I felt like Andy gave us a chance to win that game in Vegas. And then we just went week to week like that, just thinking about it. And I really got to tell you, I don't know if this model works, but I know that it worked for Bryce. I know Bryce took the challenge. Bryce grew. He took every day as an opportunity. He never stopped leading through that whole time. He's working his teammates in the locker room. He's working the sideline during the games. He's there as support for Andy while he was playing. He literally did not bow out, or a lot of times you kind of see these things happen and the quarterback all of a sudden starts to retreat. He just stayed available and was consistent with his teammates and just kept working on his craft until he got his next opportunity. So I have to give Bryce all the credit for this working for him.
What was it like, tangibly on the field that you saw the difference in, right? I mean, we all did, where it looked like he was a little nervous and uncomfortable. Then you benched him, and then you brought him back in, and it was like, damn, he's Johnny Smooth now. Look at him.
Yeah,
What was it to you?
It wasn't any one specific thing. I just saw when we went out there and played Denver, we lost that game, but I felt his confidence. I felt his presence. I felt what I saw in the evaluation process of this leader, this guy that can go out there with all these other skills and talent. I just saw that come alive, and the energy was different. And we felt different as an offense on a couple of those drives, and then I just saw him just take weak strides as we just kind of continued to build the offense around his skill set with all the different things that we were doing. I just saw him taking command, taking control of it, and just did that weekly.
Andy,
go
ahead.
I was going to say, what do you think is his superhero's trait or his special trait that has impressed you?
It's like his consistency, regardless of the stakes, regardless of the time on the clock. We had some, back and forth games like that. We looked at that stretch, where you're playing we had the Chiefs, the Bucks, the Eagles, and just two close games with the Saints and the Giants. And I just watched him go out there and be consistent, and I felt like I could just call anything on the card because he remained steady. It wasn't like he elevated. He stayed the same while everybody else kind of started to feel the challenge of the situation.
Andy Dalton has signed a 2-year deal to stay with the Panthers, and he's had a kind of an underrated career. What's the hierarchy? And if he's the backup, is it the traditional, you're there to back up and only back up, or is there, a blurred line as to whether or not he could earn playing time like he did last year?
Yeah, he came back with the full understanding. He is here as a resource for Bryce Young. Bryce is our guy. He's the backup. If something happened to Bryce, we have Andy that we know can still play at a pretty good high level there. He's got all the arm talent and all those things. And then also just from a mental standpoint, he's year 2 in our system, and he's such a great resource for Bryce. Their relationship is probably the biggest reason why we made this decision. Bryce's support of Andy when he went in, Andy's support of Bryce as we decided, hey, we're staying with Bryce right here through the end of this season. And so their relationship is the biggest reason for this.
It's fair to say, like, putting skill guys and skill talent around Bryce Young, like, priority number 1 for the team this offseason?
I would say it's a priority.
Right.
I wouldn't say it's priority number 1.
Okay.
I do know we need to figure that out, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's absolutely. Let's get him some, touchdown makers and continue to add talent, to this group. But it's certainly, for us, is like we got to figure out this defense and make sure that we have the right guys in place to be able to play the style of defense that I know that we can.
Right.
You re-signed Chuba Hubbard, your number 1 running back, during the season. How much of the move to get that done was driven by seeing how Saquon Barkley left the Giants, Derrick Henry left the Titans? Like, we don't want to let him even whiff the open market. Let's keep him here. Let's get this done.
Absolutely, and we want to make sure that guys understand these are the types of players that we want to make a priority before they get to the market, because they're exactly what we look for and what we stand for as a football team. The football character, the way that they come to work every day, the way that they make themselves available on the practice field, and certainly the style of play on Sundays, with just the way that Chuba just never quits. He's always out there all the way to the end with some of his classic, finishing runs that he's had. So we want to make sure that our guys know we will pay and take care of the players that fit here, and that so that we can build the culture the right way.
Yeah, well, you gave the team that won the Super Bowl a tough time up in Philadelphia, but I always like to ask, coaches who coached against that team that won the Super Bowl, like, what jumped out to you about them being on the field that day, and what, in your eyes, made them a special football team here down the stretch?
I think it was their commitment to their principles and the core of what they do. They don't try to get cute.
Yeah.
They stress execution. They stress good football, ball security, tackling, blocking, all the fundamentals, the
Right.
things that we all care about, and they're just unwavering with that. And then on top of that, the talent that they evaluate, that they fit into their culture,
Yeah.
and that shows up. It's so consistent. The players that they select, whether it's in the draft or in free agency, produce on the field for them, and then they just bring them into their culture. And then also just kind of watching them leading into it, just the game management decisions, and such a great job that, that Nick does making those decisions.
David Tepper's owned the team for 7 years now. He's very driven. He's very competitive. He can be angry at times based upon how things are going, and traditionally during his time owning the team, it hasn't been great. What kind of pressure do you feel? How happy does he seem to be based upon year 1?
He's been very supportive of Dan, Brent, and I just working together. He wants good processes. That's the thing that I've taken away from this year working with David and Nicole in our meetings, post-game, and the conversations that we have. He's committed to making sure that we have the right processes in place. And I would imagine this is a part of why he's been so successful, is that he evaluates these things and says, okay, guys, how do we come to this decision? And we go painstakingly through the decisions made to come to these conclusions. Did it lead to success or not? Why or why not? Let's take a look at that. And just the open and honest conversations and the way we've gone about it, has been really productive.
We've asked just about every coach and GM today, right? What's the toughest position for you to evaluate, right? Everybody's got their kryptonite, or it's annoying to watch this much tape of this position. What's the one for you where you feel like I got to spend a little more time watching this group or lean on somebody a little bit?
Nose tackle.
Okay. We've gotten a lot of safety and linebacker today. That's been a lot, right? Which I was surprised to hear that many. But nose tackle's the one for you.
I would say nose and then corner.
Corner, right?
Because there's some movement there's some movement traits in there that guys have a real knack for identifying. The
Right.
guys who play grounded, and
Yeah.
can transition, out of their pedal. But the nose tackle, they just don't make a lot. They don't have a lot of TFLs. They don't have a lot of sacks. But the value of a guy that can play with his back square to the line of scrimmage
Right.
is huge.
Yeah.
So it's like, but it's also watching paint dry. So.
Yeah, right. He's just holding his ground again for the 10th play in a row. Yeah, I hear you.
Or
I hear you.
effing up the play.
Or-
That's the stat that Chris came up with that we want the
Yeah.
Elias Sports Bureau to
Right.
recognize,
Right?
the
I
F
mean,
up
right,
the play.
defense, like Aaron Donald, how many plays did he F up in his career, but he got no stat for it, right?
Right.
And you're like,
No
damn,
doubt.
that was all Aaron Donald. I don't care who made the tackle. He made the whole play, right? So I'm trying to make that a common
It's a Derek
thing here.
Brown factor.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I was thinking, actually. Yes, right.
So when you come here, you're looking for anything and everything you can. But what's your specific objective? If you go 1, 2, 3, what are the positions on the team that you want to improve for this year?
Yeah, defensive front play first and foremost. Certainly safety. Like we got one safety currently on the roster right now. That's a big emphasis. And then offensive weapons. Just like, who is that impact player? Is it a receiver, tight end, or a running back? Just that can really help us. And really give
Take
Bryce,
you a little pressure off. Throw a 5-yard pass and go, good, he ran 60 more yards. That's great to have. I'm a great offensive coordinator now. Look at me.
Great
right?
call.
Great call. Great quarterback. All of that. I hear that. I'm with you there.
All right, well, congratulations on a first year that showed Bryce Young is the guy, and we'll see what Bryce Young can do this year. All the best, Dave Canales, Panthers head coach. We'll have plenty more from Indianapolis.
Thanks, guys.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.